Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast finally of a StarCraft 2 match. It's been way too long and I went through withdrawal of StarCraft 2, so I decided to go ahead and see if I could find any very old replays that I haven't seen before. So this is going to be a game between PainUser and iNcontrol here on Metalopolis. We have PainUser spawning as the orange Terran player versus iNcontrol spawning as the yellow Protoss player. Now, this game is brought to you by lucomputers.com. Go ahead and check out their website. There is a link for StarCraft 2 capable computers on their homepage on the top right hand side. Just go ahead and check out their website. Now, PainUser, a pretty well-known Terran player, and also iNcontrol, a very well-known StarCraft 1 player. iNcontrol originally was a Zerg player. I did do an interview with him. That interview is up on StarCraft Legacy, and he explained why he went from Zerg to Protoss, saying that he really liked the whole entire play with Protoss. It rewards a little bit of more of his playstyle, and that's why he went along with this playstyle instead. Now we see iNcontrol going ahead and dropped down a 13 or 12 gateway, and now move out with this probe. Meanwhile, Terran PainUser I'm going to go ahead and build a 12 barracks. Now, I do not watch other people's videos all that much, so if this game was already casted, my apologies, but I guess you guys get to hear my insight on this game. So iNcontrol now going to go ahead and scout out in the clockwise direction, not scouting out just quite yet. Now going to go ahead and continue to move on out. Meanwhile, we have PainUser scouting out with an SCV in the counterclockwise direction. They will go ahead and pass each other in the middle of the night, since for some reason the sun never rises here up on Metalopolis. Those lights are always on. Over here, we're going to have this command center upgrading to an orbital command in just a moment. And are we going to get a tech lab out of this barracks? No, we're going to go ahead and start training a Marine first as this becomes an orbital command. Back over here, we have the Cybernetics Core already in play. Now, whether or not PainUser goes for a late tech lab and then an and then a late Reaper to do some scouting is probably just one of the questions, just because a lot of Terran players really like to use a Reaper as a scouting unit with that cliff jumping ability. It is actually cheaper and more economical to try to use a Reaper to scout instead of an orbital command, a scanner sweep. In comes a mule gonna go ahead and start mining as we go into a factory. So PainUser may be trying to go for the standard 1-1-1 Terran play from a barracks to a factory into a starport, and the Terran player really that's more of a real defensive mechanism, as it allows the Terran player to build the proper counter unit depending on what the Protoss player does. In comes this SCV now, so SCV now coming in, gonna go ahead and do some scouting as well. Gonna see that there is double gas, really waiting to see if there's any additional building, any starport or a second gateway. Now there is a pylon being built over here, and most likely, and PainUser will not be able to see any of the new tech buildings, a second gateway coming in, and most likely in just a moment we're going to see iNcontrol place down either a Robo Bay or a Stargate. He may try to go for a 4-gate, since he is double chrono boosting this warp gate, but I don't see any proxy pylons or any scouting coming in just quite yet. So iNcontrol now building the Templar, the Twilight Council, so we may have a Dark Templar rush. Back over here, the starport already coming up as more Marines being trained out. I know that some Terran players like to get a reactor to double train some of those Marines, and then the reactor is also helpful for that starport later if you need to produce additional Vikings or produce medevacs more quickly as well. PainUser currently supply locked at 27/27. Meanwhile, iNcontrol getting that gateway and going into a 2-gate into a Twilight Council, so something I definitely was not expecting. And now finally in comes that Robo Bay. Robo Bay so key in order to get that early observer out. Now we already have one Viking moving out, so that Viking is going to be that scouting unit, and those stalkers may be there to just try to shoot it down. The stalkers dealing 14 damage to a Viking, the Viking only having 0 armor. Marines now should be able to hop inside. PainUser playing very defensively, but same as iNcontrol, and we finally have a reactor coming out from this barracks. I would suspect a second barracks now being placed sometime soon in order to get the tech lab for that stim pack and that combat shield. More stalkers now being warped in as well as this Robo Bay nearing completion, and now in comes 4 more gateways with the Twilight Council, and it is going to be a blink. So it's a 4-gate into a blink rush. So does that Viking see the Twilight Council? Yes, the Viking does see that Twilight Council. He may not know that it is a blink rush, as opposed to a zealot charge. But with that, I think that lights go on when it is in fact a blink, so it is going to be a 4-gate push, and now the Terran player really needs to macro up and really just play very heavily. PainUser with a decent amount of siege tanks should be able to hold off this attack, but if the stalkers are able to blink up into here and then circumvent this whole entire attack force, these siege tanks will not be able to really blast on in. Now a command center being laid down will be most likely lifted off and go ahead over here towards this natural expansion. Blink nearing completion, only needing what, 40 units of time more as more stalkers are being produced. So we currently have 5 stalkers. More stalkers should be warping in by iNcontrol, and the robo base should have 1 observer out. So here it comes at 1 observer. I do not see any missile turrets just quite yet, so iNcontrol may be able to just simply blink on in. We do have a Raven though, so that Raven should be able to scout out this observer if he flies out in the right direction. Now he's going to go ahead and fly out over here. This observer going to have a very, very horrible and robotic life if that Raven catches him in time. But no, and that Viking is also going to be able to spot it. There we go. Observer now moving away. Able to pull back just at the right moment, so that I guess those javelin or those lancer torpedoes missed that observer just because it went out of cloaking range. So that's an important thing to note. Now in come these stalkers. The stalkers, yes, do have blink, and now gonna go ahead and blink on up. So it's a quick stalker blink. Siege tanks sieging on up, and this is gonna be a little bit of an issue. In comes the siege tanks. The siege tanks are dealing the full 60 damage because this is prior to the patch. And now stalkers moving around, gonna go ahead and take down some of these barracks and perhaps try to move in and take down this refinery. PainUser not getting that much gas, and this is gonna be a little bit of an issue here as those siege tanks continue to just move, just stay in position. Those siege tanks do not have the range to really deal with this whole entire stalker push, and now one of those barracks now taken down. So now a second refinery going to be taken down as well. So PainUser going to be in a load of hurt in just a moment. Stalkers, however, now going to be caught in between a rock and a hard place, trying to deal with all these SCVs and these siege tanks. Siege tanks going to go ahead and blast on in, and now blink into the 0 range. So very nicely done. Siege tanks splashing off a little bit of that damage as well, and now those siege tanks also dealing a lot of damage to those SCVs. And now PainUser down to, no, that is not down to 20 harvesters, down to 11 harvesters. That's going to be a very, very hard hit on that economy as there's more stalkers nearing by. At this stage in the game, iNcontrol most likely going to try to macro up. No real reason to run headlong into the fortified siege tanks. 4 siege tanks with that point defense drone in the air should be able to hold off any real attack. Now the 2 refineries are up. Really don't understand why PainUser really spent an extra minerals for that refinery. Gonna go ahead and try to build some more SCVs over here as well, most likely to try to get back into this game. So PainUser, if he can pull this game out long enough, may be able to come back in, but that early hit was just very, very devastating. Viking is going to be able to shoot down this observer in just a moment as that Raven is keeping close, and the observer unable to escape, but it's quite nice blink coming in. The point defense drone now out of energy, going to go ahead and focus and start hitting some of those siege tanks, as Stalkers really need a blink into here, but Stalkers now recovering from that initial blink, and down goes another Raven. So iNcontrol doing a great job this whole entire time, just constantly pressuring and denying the gas of PainUser. So how is this going to work? Hellions are not a good counter towards those units. Either is a Banshee if it's not cloaked. Viking just offering sight, so perhaps you should just try to come in and join in on this fight. Stalkers continuing to blink. Marines constantly trying to run into within range, and now the 2 Stalkers from iNcontrol should be taken down as a siege tank joins this battle, able to shoot down another 2 SCVs, and now blinking on out. Siege tank, however, going to be able to blast that Stalker there, and Stalker taking only still taking 4 hits in order to get taken down. And now here in comes a Marine and a bunker over here, so that bunker may burn down. SCVs really need to come off the line in order to start repairing. You can see that the PainUser currently sitting at 17 harvesters, needs to train up more. Not quite sure what that was about. Accidentally shot his own unit there as an SCV coming over to continue that repair job. Back over here, iNcontrol, now chrono boosting another Nexus, trying to get a stronger and stronger economy. Should probably be able to transfer some of these now. He's fully saturated up here, no real need to transfer, as the Immortal coming in to join in with the rest of this army. So an army of 3 Immortals and 6 Stalkers gonna move on out. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between excuse me, between PainUser and iNcontrol here on Metalopolis.